everybody? I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about the man with a plan that will do anything for peace, no matter how many women and children need to be murdered. PeaceMaker! Bryan, hit that music. Let's go! Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, in the heart of Uptown Whittier, Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 81. My name is Nick Valero.
This is Bryan.
Rene.
And welcome to the show. You see how weird it sounds?
Yeah. 4 minutes of our time.
You know what? I blame production because the clipboard
What did I do?
Because the clipboard wasn't out, and I should have had the clipboard. And you should automatically know I'm full of shit when I say.
Oh my God!
You said within the first minute. You said the curse within the first minute. Isn't that not what you wrote?
No, that's not what I
read
said.
it right there. It says curse in first minute.
Welcome back, Nick.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
In person, live in studio.
Feels good. Feels
And
good.
don't worry, Nick, we said that Nick had COVID in issue 80, but he's been cleared. He's good to go.
Yes.
He's not,
You can only get COVID once, right?
I mean,
that's how that works.
I mean, we're just,
what are you doing? That's why Joe Rogan is going to get that, false information strike on him
honestly,
now.
we are just taking his word for it.
No.
You're like, eyes open wide.
No,
I mean, there's a reason why you're over there.
I've had it for because it's been about 2 weeks.
Yes,
it's because I got it on the 1st, and then this would be the 14th.
Yes,
so it's been 2 weeks, 14 days.
Do you want to talk about how you got it, or the experience you've had? At least?
So I got it from being generous and helping friends, and being a good friend. I went to go help a friend fix his computer, and then he returned by giving me COVID.
Yeah.
And in return, he gave me COVID.
Yeah.
Apparently, you're not supposed to French kiss your friends when you leave their house.
That sucks.
I mean, how the French do it.
Right. And they drink coffee.
Yeah, and they drink coffee. No, but yeah, honestly, it wasn't. My experience wasn't as bad as some people's. I had a very mild case of COVID. I got lucky.
Yeah.
I had a runny nose, headache, and I didn't even have a sore throat.
Yeah.
Honestly, those were my 2 big symptoms, and then I think I had a fever for 5 hours.
And your family didn't get it.
My family all didn't get it.
So they kept you quarantined in the room.
Yeah, man, they kept me quarantined, and then whenever they needed to drop off food or anything like that, it was like a hostage situation where they're like, "Oh, all right, so I'm gonna put the food at the door, and in 2 minutes come outside and then collect the food. All right, 1, 2, okay. Now drop off the plates.
Do not.
Drop off the
I repeat,
plates.
do not exit the room.
Now go back inside and put a damn mask on. What's wrong with you? Come on." And so that's basically how it was in my house for about 2 weeks.
Funny thing about this whole the whole quarantine situation. So we were talking about it off podcast,
right?
Because we're thinking about possibly streaming sometime soon and doing some content there live for people to watch.
OnlyFans.
Sure. You were mentioning Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yes,
that's one of the games that you wanted to play. Do you know what it was originally called? Rainbow Six Quarantine.
And then because you know what it's about. Right?
Yeah, I saw the trailer and everything.
It's about an infection that's going through, and then you have to go through and kill monsters and stuff like that.
Isn't it funny how certain content was being created before COVID happened, and they were, because that's how Falcon Winter Soldier. They also
that's how their B plot got canceled.
Yeah, because it
was supposed to be a pandemic that was going around the planet post snap.
Yeah.
After everybody's coming back and stuff like that with overpopulation.
It's interesting because we're at the last. Andy finally caught up with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So we're about to watch season 8 together.
Aww.
And season 8 She was saying because she watched the first one without me, the first episode, and then we caught up. We're at like episode 3 or 4.
In that one, it's COVID is addressed.
COVID is addressed.
Oh,
and
really?
So COVID's
wow.
addressed. Have you seen it or no?
No, I haven't watched it past like season 4.
Yeah,
So,
COVID's addressed because they're wiping down the precinct.
Yeah.
Like in the very first one, like they're in like they're like they have masks on, they're wiping everything down, and COVID is addressed as like there is a problem. Actually, what's going on in the world is addressed of like Floyd and everything else, like the whole situation, BLM, and all that stuff is all kind of addressed.
How the
Police,
public looks at the cops and
yeah,
stuff.
how police hide what's going on. They even like there's an episode where they actually go through what would happen if other cops were to come forward and talk about like try to turn in bad cops.
Yeah.
Where it was like in reality the bad cops would only get a promotion, whereas the good cop that turned them in would probably get a demotion and or a transfer.
Yeah.
And
So they address problems like that.
Yeah.
yeah, so they're addressing problems like that, and it's actually really sad.
It's sad,
that's
but
interesting too.
it is. But it's a concept that I was telling Andy because, like, I understand why those things need to be addressed. But there is this concept when it comes to media, like consumable media. Whereas if a show addresses reality, sometimes it doesn't do well with the public, which is one of the reasons as to why, plot points in certain TV shows get canceled or name changes happen in video games. It's because when you consume media like TV shows, video games, and movies, you escape from reality. That's what most people are doing. Yeah. That's why most people, watch those things or, consume that kind of media. So when you bring in certain aspects of reality into a show, for example, right? Like with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it can go one of two different directions, right? You can have the public either be very approval or be very offended by it and just kind of say like, you know what, I'm not going to really do this because Brooklyn Nine-Nine was like my escape from reality. I'm not going to watch it anymore. This season sucks. Or you can have people say like, this is very interesting and I like how they're treating this respectfully, so on and so forth, right? So you have those two ideas. And as I was watching it, and I was telling Andy, I'm like, I can appreciate what the writers are doing here because they're choosing to not ignore what is going on in the world. But at the same time, you also have to understand that if I'm watching this as someone who's consuming this product, I also have the right to my opinion and disagree or agree with some of the concepts that are there. And that's what's great about, bringing these things in there. Because I'm not going to say I hate this season. So far, the first 3 episodes I've seen have been fantastic. It's still Brooklyn Nine-Nine at heart, right? But
they have a lot of really good episodes of farewell to certain characters.
Yeah.
And that's really cool where it's like, okay, we're going to say goodbye to, the Pontiac Bandit. We're going to say goodbye to all these other like main staples of the series going into their final season. Yeah. And they really do wrap it up pretty well. I'm interested to see what you think about the finale because the finale sat weird with me for a while.
You said you cried.
I cried the first time. The second time I watched it, I was like, I don't know if that hit as hard as it did. And then the third time I watched it, I was like, that still hits pretty hard.
It's funny you say that. I felt that way when watching not final, but the new season of Dexter because it wrapped up.
Is this the series finale? Because they were doing one
it's
season,
they label it as a season finale, but they don't know if they're gonna get another season because they ended it pretty well. They ended an arc, and but that's the thing.
I can't watch Dexter. It's always a will they, won't they of whether or not a brother and sister are gonna make out. Yeah, it's always
Star
a will.
Wars. This one was
a will they, won't they.
They ended it in a way that you thought they were gonna go, or no, I shouldn't say that. It just ended really weird, where it's kind of like, wow, all right, that was a big risk. So now what? Because they could move forward. But I think both Michael C. Hall and the creator, Jeff Lindsay, are like, well, if Showtime tells us, we'll jump on the opportunity. But as of right now, this is it. This was just a season for the fans, honestly.
Makes sense.
It felt really weird, though, after the season finale.
I mean, the main thing I got done in quarantine was probably I finished Halo, which was all right. It's Halo.
I mean, that sounds like all Halo games.
I mean, I got to the end of it and I was just like, oh wow, they're gonna make another one. Oh no. Oh, who could have thought that?
Mm-hmm.
And then
it's not Bungie, right?
What do you mean? No,
It's
it's
not
it's 343 Studios. But it's like, oh, this is Halo Infinite. So I don't really know what the next Halo game's gonna be.
and beyond.
I swear to God, if it's Halo Beyond, I will cut someone. I swear to God. I showed you guys because I did it before I got into quarantine, but it's still pretty cool. Where I finished the Technicolor Batmobile.
Oh yeah, not the Technicolor,
Or
the
the
Technic.
Technica.
Yeah, that looks so
Technic,
sick.
yeah.
I want to get that.
Well, I told you I was gonna get it beforehand, and yeah, dude, it's worth every $120.
That's not that bad.
No.
That's how much I paid for my, I think, a little less, like under 100 for my X-Wing that I got, the Lego one.
Yeah, but where are you going to display that with your Captain America shield?
But there's just, the X-Wing is just sitting next to my TV. The Captain America shield is just buried in the clothes right now.
If the Captain America shield is not around my arms, it's in the pile of clothes.
Yes.
First off, that's how he takes his clothes to the laundry. He puts it in the shield, and then picks it up, and then like carries it. You know?
Well, speaking about TVs, shows, that's not a good transition.
That is not a
Whatever.
great transition, but no matter what, the man with a plan is definitely the man that wants peace, and that's PeaceMaker.
Thank you for saving me on that one because I had no transition. I was just like, we got to get on topic.
Yeah. Just sit back, baby. All right, just sit back.
That's why we brought you back.
Yeah, thank you, sweet cheeks.
I know, we were going off the
You
rails.
guys were. I was actually going to mention that.
What did we do wrong in last issue?
Dude, you guys were so off topic for so long. You guys drift. You guys drift
because we
like
enjoy
a-
each other's company. Look what we're doing now. You're off topic right now. We just had a good transition that you brought in for PeaceMaker,
Yeah,
and now
then
you're
you
all of a
got-
sudden going
then-
like, let me
then
tell
you
you
got
something
me-
about
then-
issue 80.
Then you got me off topic. That's your fault.
That's true. We got off topic
Yeah.
again by going off topic.
Exactly. So anyway, PeaceMaker was. How did you guys like it? 3 episodes so far.
I
James Gunn
love it.
directing a TV show. I feel like the only way James
How'd
Gunn
you like it? Keeps going.
The only way James Gunn really knows how to make a TV show, and that's chaotic.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
So for me, watching it as of like first episode wise, I was kind of like, okay, well, there's something. Obviously, the first episode was just going to be off the rails. You know,
Right.
it was going to have everything that James Gunn wanted to. It was going to have action. It was going to have bloody, nudity, and just like crazy conversations throughout the whole thing. I figured that's what his first episode was going to be.
What I really wanted to find out was when he was talking to like DC, because he had to have talked to DC and Warner
Of course,
Brothers
yeah.
for it. What were his like guidelines
I don't think
for the show?
That's the
'Cause-
thing. I think that's legitly they gave him free control.
Because if they gave him free control, it's so interesting on how much he is opening up the DC universe. Because he's opening it up all over the place. Because I mean, in episode 2, he introduces, what was it? He introduces,
He doesn't he introduce like vigilante, right? Like in episode
No,
2?
I'm talking about in general. They introduced Batmite.
Yeah,
they
that was cool.
What was it? Not Toyman.
Dollman.
Dollman. They're introducing a bunch of other characters. They just mention characters that automatically they're going like, no, these are real characters that are in our universe.
In the first episode, they talk about Aquaman and Batman.
Yeah,
They mention Aquaman and Batman.
which I also think is really funny, where he's just like, oh. Yeah, Aquaman, he sleeps with fish.
Yeah.
He's like, he totally sleeps with fish. I need this guy at an aquarium. So let him in at the middle of the night.
It's a weird contrast of what we're seeing with James Gunn here that exists in the Snyder, because this exists in the Snyderverse technically.
This does.
Technically.
This is the
this is
DCEU.
aware of, yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny to kind of see.
He's talking about Jason Momoa.
Yeah, the characters that we grew that we saw in the Snyderverse
He's
being serious
serious.
and dark and then he's just like, yeah, Aquaman, he
bones fish.
He bones fish. It's great.
He bangs fish.
There was also a note in I think episode 2 where they hand the diary to the new girl. In
Yes.
this
Amanda
thing.
Waller's daughter.
Yeah, Amanda Waller's daughter. Oh, by the way, massive spoiler alerts. If you have not seen PeaceMaker, I should probably warn you guys. We should have been warning you guys ahead of time. But we haven't spoiled anything massive so far. If you guys have not seen PeaceMaker, the first 3 episodes on HBO Max, head on over to watch that and then come back and listen to the rest of issue 80 or 81 or watch us on
Spoilers.
YouTube.com.
Judo Master loves hot Cheetos.
Cheeto Master
So
and Hot
it's
Cheetos is
in that
hilarious.
diary that Amanda Waller is given.
Yeah.
There's a Wayne Enterprise sticker
Yes,
on it.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
that's pretty cool.
There's a Wayne Enterprise sticker on it. There's a lot of like little tiny deep cuts that they do, which is really interesting because I feel like it doesn't take away from if you've seen everything else or if you know a lot about DC, but if you do, it's like that's kind of cool. Like I like that. Okay,
It's rewarding you for being a fan, but it doesn't punish you if
for
you
that.
haven't seen anything. I will say that I've been kind of on that like edge of loving it, but just honestly just liking it, like accepting it as a good TV show.
what problem do you have with it?
That
exactly.
it borders. It's like not a show that I would recommend to everyone, but it is a show that I would recommend if you've seen enough DC EU stuff.
But I feel like you don't even need to see enough DCEU because
No.
I feel
In terms of
the-
like if you're going to like it, like not that like the information.
I would just go as far as if you loved Suicide Squad, you can go ahead and watch this.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
fine. Like, because you've at least consumed some DCEU stuff,
Right.
at that point. But it's someone who's completely new that hasn't seen anything that their only point of reference to the DCEU is Man of Steel, right? Or Batman versus Superman. It's not a show that I would recommend to them because it's very far out there. It's totally different. It's just a different atmosphere.
especially if you really liked those movies
Yeah.
because of like its seriousness and its grit. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this is some dark stuff. This is not the same thing.
No, this is James Gunn
It's a 180.
Winter Wonderland of just candy and bunch of
Yeah,
nonsense stuff.
It's literally he got the toy box and he just threw it on the floor and he was like, I'm gonna play with all these toys.
You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna play with everything. I'm gonna make him have sex. I'm gonna make him do everything. It's gonna be great.
Literally the first episode.
So-
I was not ready for that.
Really?
What?
You
What?
didn't think that was gonna happen?
I mean, I did, but
do you
not
mean?
to that intensity.
What?
Full body sex.
Oh, I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah. I, mean,
I just thought it was gonna be actually he was gonna talk into the girl to do it. The first girl. he wanted to-
What's her name? Hardcore?
It's hardcore. It's hardcore.
Hardcore. Okay.
But obviously they didn't want to go that route, which is actually I like that.
Respectable.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
like that as for a character for her because she's actually pretty interesting so far.
Well, because inside
Yeah.
of the comics, she's a double agent.
Yeah.
She's a double agent that works for Task Force X, and then
Amanda Waller actually kind of hints at that. That's a thing. That's pretty cool. She's like, watch out. She's got her own intentions and stuff like that.
yeah, and the guy, the fake beard,
Diebeard.
Diebeard.
Diebeard, yeah.
Diebeard, he's originally the warden of Belle Reve Prison
Mm.
inside the comics.
Oh, okay.
So he's originally the warden, which is really cool.
But that's why I'm starting to like. That's why I really like this series. It's like borderline between like and love. It's James Gunn has this interesting way of making his own interpretations of franchises that we know, but making it his own and still respecting the source material. Because that's the thing is that as someone that isn't as involved with like DC Comics as both of you guys, I can look at this and be like, yeah, James Gunn is understanding where these characters are coming from in terms of their source material, but he's not going too far out there to say like these are completely different characters and I'm rewriting their entire stories and y'all have to love it. It's more along the lines of like, I understand the source material. If you guys want to love these characters, I'm going to show you why I made them this way.
Yeah, I mean, I also do like the idea that James Gunn is really going into the psychology of characters.
Yeah.
Like, I really do love. Do you happen to pause? Did you pause it when he took out all the stuff from when he got shot?
No. It's
I
on the trash
mean,
bag, right?
From the trash bag when all the stuff that when he's in the hospital and he takes everything out from from Culture Maltese. Mm-hmm. And he puts it all out. It's hilarious because you see a lot of little tiny things. So you see like a little flyer from Cult Maltese. It's it's a postcard that says Cult Maltese. And then there's a paper that has all of the Suicide Squad members, and it was how he was going to remember who they were. So it says like Polka Dot Man, Polka Dot. It just
What?
Yeah, and then it says Ratcatcher, Kid, and then it says Bloodsport, black guy.
Does it really?
That's funny. That's awesome. What about King Shark?
King Shark, and then it has King Shark, and it's just a bunch of letters next to it because he doesn't know how to spell.
Because his name.
He doesn't know how to spell his name,
Yeah.
so it's just like the best he can do
Anawe.
of what exactly Anawe sounds like. So it's like Anawe. And then but I thought the most interesting thing is he actually has a napkin, which I'm assuming he got from the bar.
Yeah.
Because he has a napkin and it says Veronica, which is the faceless woman who, inside the comic books, he teams up with Vigilante inside of the comics, which is a really interesting reference, and I love it. But yes, you see all those like little tiny things from like what he got from Corto Maltese, and I thought that was really interesting.
There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of detail.
Even James Gunn's soundtrack. There's some stuff
This
in
one,
there.
This one isn't as vivid.
No, but
as, like,
it goes with the
Guardians or anything
scene.
else.
It goes with the scenes that he's
True.
trying to do.
Yes.
At the end of, I think it's episode 2, he plays that Foster the People song with Pumped Up Kicks, but he plays it after you find out that the dad is like a crime lord of some sorts and stuff like that, because he's actually been a peacemaker himself, but he was a more radical one.
I think he was called like the White Dragon or something.
That's what
like
they
that.
say in there. Yeah.
And the song that he plays and the actor that's playing it, his name's Robert. And so
inside of the comic books, White Dragon, if I'm not mistaken, White Dragon was this vigilante that was a hardcore racist.
yes.
Like he's a hardcore like left, like right winged. What was it? Only picked on. He always ignored like Caucasian crimes and only went against like African American and like Hispanic crimes. And like he would just like beat them down. And then and then he ends up becoming. I think he gets recruited by like this like right winged like hardcore anti-Semitic Semitic team. I forget who it is, and then he ends up joining Task Force X.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Trying to see if it matches what Nick was saying.
Yeah, he was part a reference to the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
His name's taking the reference from the Ku Klux Klan. William Heller was the original dragon, a neo-Nazi in a powerful suit of armor.
Yeah.
Heller was a member of the Aryan Empire, the Fourth Reich, so he's also a Nazi as well too.
Yeah. He's a hard anti-Semite.
But it's interesting to see how James Gunn is handling these character introductions, because in terms of how he's developing this entire story, you could have watched the Suicide Squad, right, and understood who these characters were that were joining up Amanda Waller's kind of like side squad that's going to be working with Peacemaker. We already know how those characters are going to behave and react, but the introduction of like Vigilante or his dad, right, who now we know as the White Dragon, it develops these characters in a way where it's kind of like, okay, we know that these characters exist because of this reason, but their stories are going to be more in depth as the story moves on. And then by the end of episode 3, we understand who they were, because Peacemaker's dad, when we first see him, he's just a racist dude that's like disappointed his son is always super harsh on him. And by the end of that episode, we understand that there's more to his story when he gets brought into prison. Right?
Well,
it's great.
The thing I'm most interested in is the actor that plays the leader of the team. I don't remember his name. He actually already got cast for Guardians 3.
Oh, that's right.
After working with him and after they wrapped on this one, he offered him Guardians 3 as the villain.
Really?
Yep.
Wait, the leader of the cult?
No. The leader of the group. The guy who's like I'm
the
directly
guy that's in charge.
Oh,
the guy that's
yeah.
like,
I forget his name.
I'm directly under
I'm looking it up,
the only person I have to answer to is Waller.
Yeah.
So James Gunn worked with him.
Oh, his name was Mern. Clemson Mern.
Yeah, so Clemson Mern, he was it? That's the character's name, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mern
it's the
is
character's name. I don't know. I don't want to.
It's Chuck Woody.
It's
or something.
I think it's like a northern, like a southern African name. But anyway, he's he was, according to James Gunn, he was so good. He was like, I'm gonna offer you the villain in Guardians 3, which automatically says a bunch because if you've seen any of the Guardians movies, you know that the villain has to have this like gravitas and this like a lot of depth to them and everything else. I mean, Ronan the Accuser himself was like really awesome, and he had like this like volume to him. Ego was really cool, so I'm really interested to see how exactly this guy performed inside of PeaceMaker that really like led to that whole, yes, you are amazing, now you're going to be inside of Guardians.
Keep your mic closer to you because you're like popping in and out.
Am I? I'm going to put it like right there. I'm going to put it right up.
There you go.
I'm going to shove it in my mouth.
Okay. Oh my God. You can't give this guy directions, man, without him going like, I'm going to do the most extreme thing possible. Stop. I will say that there are a lot of things to like about this show because I feel like it's a very good breath of fresh air. It's a final, like in a way, it kind of feels like a final goodbye for the Snyderverse. In a way, now like with the Flash movie coming out soon, and it's interesting to see how this is going to go on because this show technically exists in the Snyderverse,
right?
But we know other shows like Doom Patrol and Titans don't necessarily exist in that
separate,
same.
Yeah.
No, the Arrowverse is another one.
Arrowverse has already explained this. Hold on, if I can remember right. The Arrowverse is classified as Earth Prime. They've already said Earth Prime, and then the Arrowverse, the Snyderverse is Earth 17. Why it's Earth 17, I have no idea.
Yeah. Why is the CW Earth Prime?
Dude, they think so high. I mean, they're being sold. CW is being sold. FYI.
No, yeah.
Well, the CW, people think that it's being sold. It's
what?
I thought it was just a rumor that it was being sold.
No, there was a headline that I saw, and the article was basically saying, I forget where. We'll look it up in the article.
No,
but
it's the rumor is that they're planning that they might want to sell the CW because they haven't made a profit since like 2016.
Oh my God.
They haven't made a profit since 2016, so now they're trying to figure out how exactly to recoup this because nothing they've done so far does not matter what kind of shows, nothing else. It has not recouped.
Because that was the time of streaming. That's when streaming
killed them.
Yeah.
So what they're thinking about doing is selling the network, but then taking all the properties and making it like a CW streaming service, which essentially would be
HBO Max.
HBO Max.
God forbid that all the content for DC goes on HBO Max, because that's going to be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Honestly, I mean, if Arrow and Flash and everything else was on HBO Max, I'd go watch it.
Arrow's still going on?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, the Flash is still going on.
Because that was the weird thing, is apparently they're planning on, they might sell it, but they're still developing TV shows.
Yeah, because they have Naomi coming out.
They have all the new seasons of Batwoman. Flash, Batwoman, Riverdale.
And then they just announced they're doing a show
Justice
with Diggle.
League. Yeah, where it's Justice U.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying.
I don't know. Warner Brothers is a weird thing right now, dude. Warner Brothers is weird.
That's why I'm saying it's a rumor that they might be trying to sell the CW and then move all of that content over to HBO Max, which would make sense. It would make sense,
It'd
but
keep the streaming service fresh. It makes sense to keep paying that $14.99 a month.
Yeah, I mean, if you got all that content, I would.
Yeah.
Because also Flash, I think it was Flash, Arrow, and all the other CW shows. Their contract with Netflix just ended.
Yeah.
Yes, because right now they just put up Superman and Lois, the first season.
On Netflix?
On HBO Max.
On HBO Max.
It's on HBO Max.
Let me ask you guys this, because this is the reason why I brought up, the reason where these TV shows fit in what verse and the DCEU. Comparing this TV show to others like Titan and Doom Patrol, because you guys have seen those, how does this stack up against those? PeaceMaker.
Doom Patrol would probably be the closest to it.
Why?
Okay, so Doom Patrol is by far one of the wackiest TV shows I think I've ever seen. Because
I haven't watched it, but I've seen clips.
Doom Patrol legitimately has the sex patrol in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where they fight crime by orgasming.
Yes.
That's a thing?
That's a thing. I will show you the clip after this.
Yeah, I'll show you
That is the funniest moment in that show. Because everyone's having an orgasm. Mind you, Brendan Fraser's character is a robot. So he's doesn't have any.
He
organs.
has no organs, so he can't orgasm.
So he's looking at everyone's like, oh, he's like, what the hell's going on?
Not only that, but then at a certain point, he starts to fake it.
Yeah,
because he doesn't want to be left out.
It's such a beautiful scene. It's so funny.
That's why I'm saying, by far, still goofier than this.
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on. This show legitimately has a street that knows that it's a street. It has a self-aware street that has psionic powers that can then also affect people's mental states.
Yes.
And it's a different alternate dimension, along with Bicep Man, who can then flex his muscles.
Yes.
To then activate certain powers. He can rip the dimensions apart by flexing
certain muscles.
Yes.
I want that.
Okay.
Doom Patrol by far is the wackiest show.
We got to start watching Doom Patrol.
I'm down. You want to watch it together?
I'm down. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, Doom Patrol is awesome. I love it so much. It's so much fun. Not only that, but also the first season with Alan Tudyk as the villain.
Oh, yes.
I love Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk's a great actor.
But he's an amazing Mr. Nobody.
Good.
Because Mr. Nobody is that perfect person to narrate. Because in the first season he's mainly your narrator.
Yeah.
And because Mr. Nobody is nowhere and everywhere, so he's spying in on the team as they're like planning to take out Mr. Nobody, and he's always narrating the story.
And then also this show just like shot up Brendan Fraser's career.
No, it
brought it back.
Yeah.
Dude, Brendan Fraser is amazing in this show.
That's what I hear.
So let me bring up this fact then, because you're saying that this Peacemaker is wackier than Doom Patrol.
Peacemaker, then Doom Patrol. Titans is all the way at the bottom near the dumpster. And if I could forget about Titans, that would be great.
The thing is that I don't want to watch Titans because I watched like the first 4 episodes. I got up to the part where there was talking about Hawk and Dove. I wouldn't piss on it if
it was on fire.
But I watched it and I just, I couldn't. And then people were just kind of like, I hated how people react to it when like Jason Todd got announced. It was like, oh yeah, Jason Todd's in here, like cool. And then like I was like, I'm gonna predict, and I think I talked about it with you. They're gonna kill him off in the same season he appears on, and then right after that, he's gonna be Red Hood because that's what Warner Brothers likes to do.
Did they do that?
They did that.
Oh, within 2 episodes.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Within 2 episodes. Not only that, but also, it isn't the right Jason Todd.
No. Yeah.
So
it's a more Tim Drake kind of. They made him more like Tim Drake in a bit.
No. That is not the problem. I have a problem. That's not what I have a problem with.
We get frustrated, Nick. Go release the hounds.
So the thing I have the most frustration with is the fact that the reason why he becomes the Red Hood isn't because he's upset with Batman. He's upset with the fact that Batman couldn't kill the Joker. How could you not murder this man? He has crippled people. He has crippled our friends. He's tortured your best friend in Commissioner Gordon. He's shot Alfred. He might have raped Barbara Gordon. They never were clear about that. And then he murdered me. And he's still walking the streets? You just sent him to Arkham? What is wrong with you? Why do you let any of these criminals just go with all the people they've killed, all the harm they've done? And in this one, and that puts so much, and that's the whole reason why he becomes the Red Hood, because he feels like, if I can control the city and its crime, I have now protected Gotham the way that Batman could never do it. This one makes no goddamn sense, because it's literally just Bruce Wayne murders the Joker in episode 3 of the new season. Like, literally beats him to death with a crowbar as Bruce Wayne, not even as Batman. Sneaks into Arkham Asylum, bashes his brains in, and then drops the crowbar in front of Dick Grayson and goes, "The city's yours now." And then he leaves.
Yeah, I hate how they treat Batman in Titans.
And then he just leaves. And you're like, so what the hell do I do now? Like, what do you want me to do with that? Like, what do you mean? And not only that, but also Gotham is in crisis at the time. So Batman just leaves his city while it's in crisis. And the most nonsensical thing of, he doesn't even give them the opportunity, the Titans, the opportunity to go to his funeral. Like Jason Todd dies, and then he can't even go to their funeral, and then he then has future recruits of like Lucius Fox, Amanda, Kate Kane, and all the Dick Grayson, and what was it, Damian. Everybody. He has like this giant list of Bat family members, and then he was like, and then he goes, "What is this?" And he goes, "Oh, those are future recruits." It's like, dude, we just lost one. Like, what is wrong with you? Why? Like, this Batman is a dick. Screw him. He should die. Like, this Batman is not the savior of Gotham. He's an asshole.
And that rant was brought to you by Nick Valero from Keeping Up with the Nerds.
It frustrates me so much. It frustrates me so much.
Man, we gotta clip that.
That's getting clipped.
Oh my god! Why is that a thing?
I was looking at my clock and I'm like, this is not going to make a 3-minute mark.
I was gonna say, I can't. That's gonna be like 2-parter on TikTok.
Oh my god,
no, I got a way to edit it.
Dude, that's how frustrated I was.
And then
that
I want
season.
you to put background music of that, like, of just like kind of like what the hell.
Just
kinda,
you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I'm gonna do.
I thought it was just gonna be the money.
So
I thought it was gonna be the money hall.
that's what I kind of want. That's perfect.
On a lighter note, unless you have something to talk about Titans,
No,
or that could rile up Nick
no.
again.
One more thing, it's just I don't like the actor they got for Batman either. That's the thing. It's the guy
From Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing though. I don't mind him. I don't mind him at all. You know what I do mind? I mind that no one does anything smart. No one does anything smart in that show. They're supposed to be the family of detectives and the world's smartest people, and they're the world's dumbest smart people.
Well,
Why?
Well, I remember the show originally was supposed to be called. It wasn't supposed to be originally Nightwing, and then it got turned into Teen Titans.
Yes.
And then it got turned into Titans.
Yes.
It went through so many rewrites. It was supposed to be a movie, and then they turned it into a show, and it was supposed to be on the CW, but then the CW was like, no.
And you know it's bad when the CW doesn't want it.
That's true.
When the CW doesn't want it, you're like, oh, maybe we should rethink this.
Can we talk about happier times with PeaceMaker? Can we bring peace to this conversation, please?
Yeah,
no matter what the cost.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down to watch a show where I didn't feel like I was just pulverizing my temple as I was watching it, just going like, if I hit it, I'll make it better. If I hit it, I'll make it better. You know.
So I think one of the best things about PeaceMaker was I love the scene where he goes back to, after sleeping with that one girl, he goes back to his trailer and he's crying.
That is
yes.
And he has a small existential crisis.
Yes, playing the song.
Yeah, I love that, and then not only that, but also I love the introduction of Vigilante.
Yes.
In that moment of,
Are you okay?
are you okay? And he's just like, what are you doing? Are you like masturbating outside my window? Or is that what you're into? Yeah.
No, I'm not, dude. Just turn around. Look at my crotch.
And he's like, no, that's how you get me. No, that's how you get me.
He goes like, Louis C.K. Why? Because of his comedy specials? No, because because Louis C.K. would always whip his dick out. All right. He's like, don't you read the news? No, the news is depressing. He's like,
so here's what I really, really love about PeaceMaker and James Gunn's writing in general, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. He understands natural dialogue with people that have absurd personalities.
Yeah.
Like because the entire time I'm watching this show, I can understand why certain characters talk the way they do. And it's not the actors really portraying the characters. Like, granted, John Cena is PeaceMaker. Like, he sold that character, right? Like, we understand
He
that.
stole the suit.
He stole the suit. And he wears it for everything.
I think one of his.
everywhere he goes now.
I think one of his comments on like a late night show was he was like, they were like, "You're still wearing the suit," and he goes, "I realize I don't have to give it back if I never take it off."
So he's like, he is PeaceMaker, but like the conversations between like characters is just so great because it's not forced narrative that's trying to be censored. It's just narrative that's trying to be how natural dialogue works. Like literally the first 5 minutes of PeaceMaker is a conversation between PeaceMaker waking up from his entire coma or whatever he was in, right, from the hospital, talking to a janitor going like, am I being watched? She said I was free to leave. Am I allowed to like walk out? yeah, dude, like you could, like, there's no cops waiting outside for me or anything, right? It's like, not that I've seen, and they're just cussing back and forth. It's like naturally good dialogue,
Yeah.
Yes.
and we
It's a
get
very
that in every
organic
episode.
conversation.
Yes.
It does feel like a very organic conversation, and you're right. It is based around people with absolutely absurd personalities, like Vigilante.
Yeah.
I thought it was so interesting as him and Peacemaker are talking to have that moment of like Vigilante trying to have a heart-to-heart with Peacemaker and him going, do you think this brings me pleasure? Like when I grab my hands around someone's throat and their eyes are popping out, do you think I enjoy this? Because I do.
The other
I
part
think
is
it's awesome.
The other part is where Vigilante's hiding behind the dumpster and he's about to walk away. He's like, you know what? Now that you said that, I'm not gonna go away. I'm just like, what the heck?
Well, now I can't do it because then that means I agreed with you, and I can't do that. I thought it was also really funny when he's sniping the family.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think I would ever really bust out laughing from a family annihilator of just him just going like, there goes Mama Bear, there goes Bear,
Billy Bear.
Billy Bear, Sally Bear's
for
next,
Papa Bear.
and now it's time for Papa Bear to die.
I think another great moment is when at the end of episode 2, and you find out that Peacemaker and Vigilante had a 3-way, and but they're smoking weed.
Chick.
Oh, yeah.
They're smoking weed.
Yeah,
He's like, no.
you're lucky that's legal. I'd kill you guys if it wasn't.
2 years ago I would have shot both of you guys. I'm like, what the hell?
But I love the fact on how absurd Vigilante is.
Yes.
Because he even put his criteria for murder, and it's so low. Because he was like, oh yeah, do you think which are drug dealers, murderers, graffitiists, they all deserve to die.
Yeah. Maybe some innocent people along the way, but those are accidental.
Yeah.
So the actor that plays Vigilante, you have him right there, right?
Right here. He's Freddie Stroma.
He is perfection. Like that's the thing is it takes. There's certain TV shows where it's like it's a comedy, right? And you laugh out loud, right?
Absolutely.
But you know that these laugh out loud moments are going to be coming at certain points. Peacemaker is so enjoyable because even though you could say this dialogue's trash, it's trash comedy. Why are you laughing at like dick jokes and murder jokes? Oh, it's so cheap. No. Here's the thing. I haven't had a show like Peacemaker make me laugh the way it has in a while. Because there's moments in conversations where I'm not expecting a conversation to turn a certain way or for certain words to be said. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on? Like that dumpster bit. Perfect. I freaking love that. Or the torture scene.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, why is this pinky toe not coming up? And he's just like, maybe you should sharpen your torture devices.
Why don't you maintenance your stuff?
I'm just like, what?
I think another.
Why
good
am I
one,
laughing?
Making,
I want to throw up and laugh.
He's making all those faces when his mask comes off.
If I keep contorting my face, he can't pick me out of a lineup.
He's just talking to John Cena. He's just sitting in the background like.
Again, and as the scene continues, he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
I also love the idea of the butterfly attacking Vigilante, then looking at John Cena and trying to torture and like trying to question him, and then he goes, "How about I cut off something more permanent? I'm gonna cut off his pinky toe." Wait, me again? Like,
Yeah.
Why don't we spread some of this love? What about him? He's just like, no,
Like, don't
he's
worry.
the alpha.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna give him anything. Can you just give him
Give him like a
little
little bit.
something?
Give him a little bit. You know what? Why don't you just cut off all his toes?
I don't want to think about that because they showed the scene and I'm just like, oh, I still feel grossed
yeah, you
out,
can
bro.
see it.
I was
I-
like,
I thought it was so
Stop.
funny. I thought it was so funny when he was just like, no, you can't cut off my pinky toe. That's the most important toe.
Yeah, people fall over. You'll fall over.
He's like, no, that's not a
true.
thing.
I read it
not a
on the
thing.
internet.
I read it on the internet.
so
It's
that's the cusp. I kind of like. That's where I'm like in the middle ground, where that comedy is enjoyable for us, but I know there's going to be a group of people who are basically like, yeah, that's trash comedy because it's so simple. Like anyone can write like that. Not the way James Gunn does it.
No.
But the thing is that it's a combination of two things. It's a combination of James Gunn writing it, but also him finding the correct cast to deliver said lines.
That's another thing too.
And for them to say them correctly and deliver the jokes the way that they are written and to have conversations the proper way.
Yes, the director of photography also has had. I got to figure out who the cast or the production team for this is, because there's also, and I'm not gonna look for this in a show like this, but there's certain shots where I'm just like, that is actually a really good scene, and I want to clip this. I said that with the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
So it's James Gunn has done this multiple times actually. Then, where I look at a scene and I'm just like, I want this as a wallpaper or a poster. In the Suicide Squad, it was when they're all coming out of that white rain.
Yeah.
And it was great, right? In PeaceMaker, it's the shot when he does the supersonic thing on the butterfly.
Yeah.
And then he's just standing there in his underwear in the crater. It's like him in the middle of the shot, and there's the car that's being torn to the side, and he's just there naked.
Is that with Eagley?
And then Eagley comes down with the dead possum and then gives it to him, and it's just like brilliant. That shot is perfection.
I love the joke between the cops where the cops are like, "Oh, I don't understand how she got totally destroyed. How did the possum survive?" Like, why is the possum intact?
Like, what's this? A slice of pizza? And you're like, no, put that down. That's evidence. Why?
It's a
like,
human face.
I think that's a human face. And you look at it, you see the nostrils and the eye hole. She's has her pen in. And she's like,
I also one of the funny I had to admit in episode 2 that was one of the funniest things of when PeaceMaker goes into the apartment building.
yes.
When he goes into the couple's apartment.
Yeah.
And he's having a meet cute with the guy's wife. And
But the way she's talking when they're tied up, the face that John Cena makes is kind of like, whoa. Like,
yeah, where
she's like, anything
she-
can happen.
she's like, "Oh yeah. Who knows? Maybe I will sleep with him. Anything can happen tonight, right?" Right. And then he's just kind of like,
Even the
"Do
dialogue.
you want me to rape you?" Like, I'm very confused.
I know, yeah.
Even the dialogue between those two, the wife and the husband, was just like great, because you can tell that there was like tension that we didn't know existed.
Yeah.
But somehow that 5-minute argument told more than what we needed to know.
Well, so did you notice
Yes.
at the end of each episode, there's extended
snippet.
scenes?
Yeah.
Of certain scenes, there's extended. I didn't know that until second time watching the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
There's
stayed to the
wait,
whole
there's
thing.
Yeah.
Wait, there's extended scene. I didn't
At
see.
the-
Are you
all the way-
serious?
all the way
I didn't
through
see
the
There's a
credits?
reason. You know
Yeah.
how I figured that out? Because it didn't shoot
Skip?
me to the next episode.
Oh.
That's how I found out, because I was literally watching this at like 2
Yeah.
in the morning, and I'm like, oh, it's over, right? And I'm like, why? Because look, my laziness helped me get to this point.
Listen,
all right? My laziness helped me, because I was just like, I'm not going to exit out of the episode
Yeah.
and then find the second episode. I'm going to wait till the button comes out that tells me to find the next episode.
I watched them today, one before work and then one in the middle of work and then one at lunch. So I was like, oh, I gotta keep going. I know we're gonna talk about it today, and I gotta get these done.
No, so there's
it was like an assignment for me, man. I was like, I know I gotta get this done by 6.
so yeah, so when you go through all the
I
credits,
don't want Bryan yelling at me.
If I get there and this isn't done, I know I'm gonna get stuff for it.
Go.
So there is it's not even like after credits. It's more of like extended scenes. So in episode 2, there's an extended scene of the couple picking them out in the lineup. There's like they both say like, oh yeah, they point out the dad, right? And then like even the girl is like, she says, but not the hot guy though. Him. And the husband was like, fuck you. So, like, you're a fucking asshole. And she's like, and she goes, can I take this picture? And the detective's like, yeah, go ahead. And she's like,
I didn't see that scene. I want that scene now.
Yeah, that's probably the best extended
that's the
scene
best
that we
extended
get.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds hilarious. I wish that was inside the episode.
That's the
But it's
thing.
unnecessary cuts. Like it's a necessary cut to get the story moving forward.
Yeah.
But it's good that they still give us that bit so that it kind of explains more of the situation that's
like,
going on.
I feel like James Gunn went through like all the snippet cut ones and said like that's the best one that we can show after the credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like out of all of them.
That's hilarious. I can't wait to get home and just watch those.
So we've talked about all these minor characters, right? We've talked about
We haven't
episodes
even
1,
really
2,
talked about
and
Peacemaker.
3.
Jesus.
No, we haven't talked about Peacemaker, but we also haven't talked about Judo Master, which even though he's like in the last half
Dude,
of
one
that
of-
of that
He has
episode
the
3.
best interaction with Peacemaker though.
Again, the dialogue is what sells. If there's anything that you should watch, like, okay, James Gunn knows how to direct something comical.
Yes.
Let's give him that credit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, like that's the thing. You might, if you don't like James Gunn
He's a
or his
comedic
movies,
genius.
he's a comedic genius. At least appreciate that. Like if you don't like Peacemaker, the show, fine. By all means, okay. If you don't like Guardians, great. If you don't like the things that he's directed, okay, fine. But appreciate the art that he's doing here, because the the conversation between Peacemaker and Judo Master.
I still laugh because I just thought of the first thing was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna keep you in my pocket, and then and then when I rip my Achilles tendon, I'm just gonna put you there so you can just help flex my toes. I'm gonna keep you and put you in my pocket, and then take you and play with my GI Joe's dolls with you. But stay away from Chewbacca because he's got teeth on his asshole. That's canon.
That's canon. Wookiees have teeth in their assholes.
Are you hot Cheetos?
Oh yeah.
I'm throwing you one. Ow!
Ow! What's it on Cheetos? What's it on Cheetos that burns?
Even Judo's reply, like Judo Master's reply, was like, big man. It's like, and just you're like, what? Like, and it's like, remember I kicked your ass? It's so great. That's the thing.
I also love his death. Because
He's not dead?
yeah,
I know.
his brains in.
Did you not
I
hear
don't
the
think he's
squinching?
dead. I don't think he's dead.
There was squinching when he hit the crowbar.
Because when he's hitting him with the crowbar, you can hear his brains getting bashed in, and then that's why he was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah," and then he's like doing karate moves because he just defeated Judo Master.
I really hope he's not dead.
And I
that's
loved
so
how
great.
I loved how it brought that most the most conversated thing was about the Mandela effect of the Bernstein Bears.
in the middle of a stakeout.
That's the thing.
In the
Yeah,
middle, like they are busy. Like they're trying to assassinate a senator.
even Mern was like, it's Bernstein. It's like it's Bernstein. He's like-
he just drops it in a conversation.
yeah.
It's like it's Bernstein.
and then even Hardcore was like the Bearstein Bears. Like, I was like, dang. It's a very important topic.
But I have to admit, DC writers actually do that a lot, though.
Yeah.
That is a thing that they do with those kind of like verbiage talking, because they do that in Young Justice in the first season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where what was it? Where with whelmed.
Oh yes.
You
be overwhelmed.
You overwhelm me. You
you can be
underwhelm me.
me.
Yeah, where he's like, Freeze is underwhelmed. You're overwhelmed. Why can't anybody just be whelmed?
Yeah, and they say that, and that's an ongoing thing without the series.
And it's an ongoing
all
joke.
the team members are
Yeah,
like,
all the jokes.
just be whelmed.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh man, I'm whelmed.
it's great.
So we've got all these characters, and honestly, the show is mainly about Peacemaker, right?
Yeah, for the
but
most
it's
part.
so great that this show exists. It's centralized one character, right? But you still have so much enjoyment from all these other supporting characters. That's how you know that this show could succeed further down the line. Like it could be a very successful season.
That was the thing though, is I felt like, and I think that was the reason why they picked Peacemaker out of everybody to make a spinoff for, because Peacemaker is so ridiculous that as long as you put him with a team, there has to be somebody who's serious, and like they have to be that rock.
Yeah.
In order for him to bounce off of them, because what made Peacemaker so funny in Suicide Squad was that he was bouncing off of Bloodsport, and Bloodsport, and like that was making
during that whole bit where they're murdering everyone as they're trying to get
Yeah. Oh my god.
it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Peacemaker, the character the show is centralized around, right?
Right.
So can
John
we say, because okay, how many
Christopher
WWE actors have we had so far in like superhero TV shows and movies? We've had we had The Rock now because of Black Adam.
Yes.
Black
Right?
Adam is inside of it. Now we also have John Cena.
And Bautista was in Guardians.
Yes.
Batista was in Guardians.
Now, are we talking about
Wait, we're talking
WWE actors either involved in comic book movies or playing comic book characters?
Comic book characters? Should we expand it at that point?
Well, that's the thing is because like if you expand it a little bit more, you have Triple H and Blade Trinity.
Okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
Triple H is in Blade, but also it's Blade Trinity.
It's Blade Trinity.
So I mean, we don't need to do that.
Well, the
don't
reason I
need to
say
dwell on
it is because
it's also
John
Triple
Cena.
H. Nobody likes Triple H. Triple H doesn't like Triple H.
Yeah, he doesn't even call himself Triple
You
H
say
anymore.
that, and Triple H comes out through that wall.
He's Hunter
behind you.
Helms.
Dude, if he burst through that wall right now, I swear to God, I'd turn around and be like, bitch.
The next thing you need to say is Undertaker comes out, like lights turn off. He's like, "Oh, Undertaker, he's a bitch." Lights turn off. Boom.
No, dude, that's the Undertaker. You don't mess with the Undertaker.
That's where you
That's
drop
the line.
line.
That's the line.
Dude, he'll steal my soul. Come on, man.
And then just see like him next shot.
He's
it's just,
here. He's here.
Like, come on, man. It's the Undertaker.
You just see like
No, so the reason I bring this up is because John Cena has been a surprise in acting. He's like what was that?
Did you hear the popping?
Oh
Yeah.
God, dude, we messed with the wrong person.
Did you hear that?
yeah, I heard that too. It could have been next door.
Might have been.
Or could have been the Undertaker.
Who's next door at 10 o'clock at night?
The Undertaker.
The hair salon guy, the owner.
he
is
still there?
He's still there sometimes.
Or it's
yeah.
the Undertaker.
It's the Undertaker.
Or it's
Undertaker.
Triple H.
It's Triple.
Maybe.
They just said it. Anyways,
It's the Boogeyman. Remember the Boogeyman? The guy would just eat worms.
Maybe it's
He had like a giant clock. You never see the Boogeyman from WWE?
Dude, I'm scared now talking about this because, like, what if actually something does come out through that door or through that wall?
The
gonna
only,
show you
the
the
only,
Boogeyman.
the only thing I'd be okay with coming out of that door is Ric Flair. Woo!
So,
The ghost of Ric Flair.
Is the Boogeyman?
oh yeah,
Yeah, remember he just eats a bunch of worms in his fucking mouth?
yeah. That's not a pretty image.
Remember the Boogeyman?
Oh yeah.
From WWE? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that note, John Cena has been a surprise actor.
No, he's not.
No.
He's been in a bunch of stuff, but I feel like he's been underutilized because they.
That's why he's
Yeah,
underutilized.
like,
That most people didn't have faith in him. It's the same thing with Bautista when he was first casted as Drax. Not a lot of people had faith in him. And when John Cena was casted as Peacemaker, there was this kind of skepticism in like how he was going to portray the character.
But that's also the same thing with Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
So because The Rock has shown dedication to the roles he plays, and so I feel like most people, it's the desk. I heard Rene. It's the desk. That's the thing is that Dwayne The Rock Johnson has actually shown that when he's dedicated to something, he sticks to it. And so John Cena, for me, when I didn't have that kind of skepticism and fear that he wasn't going to play Peacemaker well. But when I did see him, I was surprised by how well he portrayed the character, that I kind of like attached Peacemaker to John Cena, and I'm just satisfied with his overall performance in the
But
show.
I knew that he was going to play him in a comedic fashion because what's that? I think it's like the Heartbreak or something like that. It's the
Which one?
John Cena's in. It's a. Oh my God, what's her name? That it's a woman comedian.
Oh, what is it? It was
It's like Heartbreaker or something like
yeah,
that.
something.
or,
Hold on, I'll look it up right now. But yeah, he was actually he showed his comedic chops in
That,
that.
and I feel like after that, everybody was like, "Oh, he's a comedic actor." That's what he is, because he has that entire scene in the movie theater where he's like, he goes, "You want to go, man? You want to go? Should I blow you now?" And then
Yeah.
he's like, "Wait, what?" Like,
What is it?
it's not.
That's next door.
Are we serious
Yeah, it's next door.
now?
Yeah, it's next door.
Train wreck.
Yeah, that's it.
what it was.
That's
Train
it.
wreck.
Yeah, because in that scene.
Oh, he was also in Daddy's Home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At the end, yeah.
He's also in Cock Blockers.
Yes, he was actually pretty.
He's
that
actually
was,
really
that was
good in
funny in
Cock
Cock
Blockers.
Blockers.
So how do we see him here in Peacemaker?
I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
Peacemaker is a combination of all of those roles put together. Because in Cock Blockers, he has that, like, he's kind of the uptight dad who doesn't really understand social media, and he doesn't understand texting
Yes.
and everything, and he is trying to protect his daughter from losing her virginity, and by far is freaking hilarious.
Oh my God, I forgot he played Freddy's dad in Fred.
Oh,
Did he?
Yeah, he played his dad in Fred.
If you ever want to see John Cena butt chug beer, you can do that in Cock Blockers.
Yeah. Yeah. He
butt
did. Yeah,
chugs
he
beer.
did. Yeah.
so how do we think of Peacemaker in general?
I
love it.
I love Peacemaker. Peacemaker is he's such an interesting character that how could you not enjoy him? And also, but half of the thing is the fact that he's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you have to accept the fact that it's a ridiculous character.
Do we feel like the supporting cast is taking away from his, spotlight? Or do you think that, because you said it, that, Peacemaker is the character that bounces off of other people, right?
Yeah, without that supporting cast, because a lot of them are kind of the soldiers or the, what's it called? Or the straight men. And the straight men and women that are kind of like taking the job seriously, they're here to do a mission. And Peacemaker is just this moron that Amanda Waller has put in their lap and gone, he's loyal. He's loyal, and that's kind of like as far as like his usefulness.
He's very naive. He's a blank slate, but he's still got a personality that is still developing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
But I feel like that's a product of his development, because his dad was only cared about whether or not he could shoot guns, whether or not he knew to stand up to things. Like he trained him for one purpose and one purpose only, and that was to become Peacemaker. He did not need to understand how the world was developing and how different society sees him, because that wasn't important to his dad. Now that he's alone in the world and he's working for the government, he's now seeing that he's a dick.
Yeah.
And he hates it.
And he wants to change.
I love the scene where he's crying, because he's like, oh, the beard guy could have been your friend, but you're just a dick.
Yeah.
And you pushed him away like you push everybody away.
You even see that right before the assassination attempt, because he's very hesitant on shooting the kids. Knowing, because he doesn't know. He was meant to follow orders. Right, that's his sole mission, is to follow orders and keep peace no matter what the cost.
Good soldiers follow orders.
Exactly. And then when he realizes, wait, I have to murder these two kids, not knowing what the butterflies are, he doesn't know what the threat is. You see that hesitation, and it's not until Vigilante pops in and says, here, let me take a shot at it. And so he's the one that ends up killing 3 out of the 4.
Which I think is also hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But it's interesting because we're seeing a more in-depth character development of Peacemaker.
Yes.
He's not just the one kind of tone, one color Peacemaker we saw in the Suicide Squad. He's now underdeveloped, kind of starting from scratch, still keeping the personality, but now developing into someone new in the show.
Well, not only that, but you can even see that in the beginning of episode 2, when he ends up fighting the butterfly. When he's in his underwear.
Yeah.
And he's inside of... because before that, you can see that he's lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because after sleeping with her, it's not like he just gets up and leaves. He starts wandering around the house.
He's sitting there on the bed.
He's sitting there on the bed for a good amount of time.
Reminiscing about his past.
Yeah, he's reminiscing about his past. He's kind of trying to find common things so that way he can make a friend.
Like using a vibrator as a mic to sing.
That was funny.
So weird.
It's so funny. But it's one of those things of, you have all of these little tiny aspects of Peacemaker that are absolutely essential to his development going forward, of knowing that he is socially inept. And the number one thing is he wants friends. He really wants friends. He wants people to come home to. He wants people to understand him, like him, but no one does, because he acts like a jerk.
Yeah. He does.
And not only that, but also because he just in general doesn't know how society really works. Like when they have the entire conversation about sweet cheeks. Because I imagine that is something that his dad used to always say when they went to the diner. Or when they went somewhere, he would always, dad would always refer to the waitresses as sweet cheeks. And as a small boy, that's probably how he rationalized it, of, oh, well, they have a nice smile.
There's something that's said between one of the characters as they're discussing Peacemaker and why it is that he might be a liability. It's the new girl, Amanda Waller's daughter.
Yes,
I forget her name.
She's actually a new character that is made for the show,
which is cool. But she mentions how, yes, he has this kind of very stubborn, very stupid and naive kind of look to him, right? But there's something deeper, and she notices that from him, which is interesting, because if you don't see it, James Gunn wrote it very obviously, so that way we can see it, that this isn't the Peacemaker we knew from the Suicide Squad. This is a brand new Peacemaker he's trying to write.
Yeah.
Not only that, but also it's showing that Rick Flag changed PeaceMaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the Rick Flag's dying words that's his inception moment. Mm-hmm. That's the mind worm that is now burrowing into PeaceMaker's mind of you're a joke. Like I was trying to protect the government. I was trying to protect people like you said that you were trying to do. Mm-hmm. And you murdered me for it. You're a joke. And you should know that you're a joke. Mm-hmm. And it's him trying to reconcile and understand and kind of go, what have I been doing? Why am I being hired by the government? Why am I doing all this stuff? Is it worth it? Am I doing the right thing? And it's really interesting to kind of have him have these existential crises, and not only that, but also still have that macho facade on the outside to then humiliate people that are peeking into his vulnerabilities. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting story, and I can't wait to see more of it.
So, speaking about what we can't wait to see more of, episode 3 leaves us at this cliffhanger where we kind of know what the butterflies are, but not entirely.
What exactly do you think the butterflies are?
I don't know. That's the thing, is that it's like I can finally I thought that the butterflies were a code name, because they did reference the joke about the code names in episode 1, where it's like, oh, Project Starfish is literally about an alien starfish. So I'm assuming that, or like, what did he argue, that we're fighting Mothra? Yeah.
That would be so funny if James Gunn actually did that, where he legitimately has to fight some sort of giant butterfly.
But the thing is that I thought it was so funny because I think, if I'm correct, there is actually a villain named Mothman.
Yes.
There is a villain named Mothman.
Well, there's also Firefly, right?
Yeah, but that's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing, but it's interesting that it's like, because that's the thing, is that if you kind of know or are familiar with like certain things in the DC universe, like that's the thing, is it plays with your mind a little bit, because they reference that in episode 1, where it's like, okay, the code name for Project Starfish is an alien starfish, literally. So we can only assume that, Project Butterfly, do I have to fight, a giant moth, kaiju or whatever.
The one thing is that I really want, because the reason why I was thinking Mothman would have been a good point, would have been an interesting idea, was because James Gunn has this knack of taking these not even D-list villains, these Z-list villains that are all the way at the bottom of the barrel, and then bringing them up and then going like, look at this guy, he's awesome, and then
actually making him awesome.
And then making him really awesome, like
Vigilante.
Come on, like Vigilante's not necessarily a B-list, he's not a C-list, he's very bottom of the tier. He's a ripoff of Punisher. That's what he is. He's DC's version of the Punisher.
Somewhere out there, they're like, Nick, how dare you?
Okay, well, prove me wrong.
Email us. Go ahead and email your arguments.
Put it in the comment section. I won't respond.
Those
But
are the same
you got it. At least you got it now.
Those are the same people that are mad that they're changing Punisher's logo.
Unfortunately, you don't have people use it at an insurrection, and then maybe we wouldn't have to use.
There's explanations for those sorts of things.
But my main thing is that I would love to see his version of Kite Man. I would love to see his version of Condiment.
Oh my god!
I would love to see his version of Condiment King. I would love. Like,
they're actually a threat.
Yeah, like I would love to see like his versions of these useless characters.
Yeah.
I would even love to see him bring back his brother and have Calendar Man as this useless character of like, well, what's your special power? Calendars.
That's why it was funny to see Calendar Man bring in just bag on Polka Dot Man.
Of like him just having useless powers.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, your powers are calendars.
Yeah, you
like,
just remember dates.
So, Project Butterfly, going back to that. Episode 3 ends with the reveal of an actual insect crawling out of someone's face, or the senator's face, essentially.
It's an alien invasion.
It's an alien invasion, and the camera goes back to the van with the TV screen showing a massive amount of infestations, right? All over the world. Basically, I would say 75% of the entire planet is shown to have an infestation of butterflies, right? So,
they're in basically every major city.
Do you mind if I go first as to what I think is potentially going to happen by the end of
you
Peacemaker?
steal
I'm not
mine,
because
will-
I don't know enough. I know that yours is more in depth. I'm just gonna say one thing.
I will come over there and tongue kiss you.
No.
Because I know that'll hurt you more.
No. I say
That'll
I
have
look
more
at
effect
this,
on you.
at this
Like if I
point I
hit
feel
you,
like
you'll be like, ow. But if I tongue kiss you, you'll be like, ah. See, I feel like I
It
know
sticks
how to.
with you more.
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's on camera and you can't edit it out. Technically I can.
I know how to torture you.
Like,
No.
I can just see the editor like, no, and then just like back to a conversation.
No, okay, so here's my prediction. I feel like whatever I'm gonna say, Nick is gonna be like, that was my idea, and then come over here.
About to give
Stop.
you COVID.
Stop. No, you said you're clear.
I know, but I can give it again.
Renee's just like, I'm done with this conversation.
All right,
yeah.
go ahead.
So I have a feeling that this is going to be part of the erasure of the Snyderverse.
Yo, okay.
So,
Because how do you clear out an infestation that massive?
it has to be widespread.
Yeah, but look at the Suicide Squad. When Starro infected any human being, they
Killed it.
died, right? So this could only mean that the people that are infected by the butterflies are practically dead.
No, they're dead. Yeah, if you look at his body, there was no brain.
No,
It was
exactly.
the butterfly was in the skull where the brain was.
So then what does that say about this population of this Earth, essentially? Are we getting rid of this Earth entirely? Like, is the Snyderverse completely dead once this infestation is over? Or is the story going to end with us co-living with the butterflies?
But the thing is that we don't actually know what the dots meant. Like, yes, are they all over the place? But I imagine that
Or are they hives?
I imagine that that's either a hive or the amount of infestation. Where it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like there are, 35 people who are infected and they're infecting more people or stuff like that. They haven't explained on what exact, because all of that, if you were to wipe all that out, yeah, you're right. You Thanos to the planet.
Need more than Thanos, because Thanos was his least kind and gave us 50% of the population.
Yeah, so I would say definitely you killing off half the planet would, but you're right. It could lead into into Barry Allen and his adventures into the multiverse. But my problem is that why would you do this show then?
Yeah.
Why would you do this show if
Because
you were
once
just
the
gonna...
Flash kind of shows off what's going to happen with the Flashpoint, certain characters are going to exist
Then
in
why
this
do I
new...
care? Why would I care about the show then?
It's just prediction, Nick.
If I'm going to etch a sketch right after this, why does that matter?
Well, you're not etch-a-sketching. You're permanently leaving some aspects around this. Like, what if the Flashpoint movie, right, brings in certain things and brings into this new universe that that Warner Brothers wants to do? I almost said Marvel, but Warner Brothers.
Like what?
Leave it in the comments down below how mad you are that I almost said Marvel.
Like what?
So, like, okay, if you want to continue on into season 2 or 3 of Peacemaker, right? Once the Flash movie shows off what's going to happen, you still keep that and bring it into the universe that you want to create over here. Now it exists here, right? What about Doom Patrol as well? Isn't Doom Patrol still being made?
Doom Patrol is on season 4.
So it's still technically being made, right? Or maybe by the end of Doom Patrol, it just ends, right? And they're not taking that with them. So it could just be that the Flashpoint is going to be dragging certain properties into the new universe. But again,
what I'm really hoping from the Flashpoint movie is I'm hoping that there is a Grant Gustin cameo.
Yeah.
From The Flash?
From The Flash. Because there was an Ezra Miller cameo inside of
they're going
The
to do
Flash.
it.
So, because I want them to mildly explain what happened, because Ezra Miller didn't know that Infinite Crisis is happening during that time. And if you can then connect that, and then that's him going to that alternate universe of him leaving, going into, now he's stuck in this alternate universe and he's like, I don't know how to get away. I don't know how to get out of here. That would be really interesting. And then when they finish Infinite Crisis and they kind of level everything out, it's kind of like two big bangs. It's Infinite Crisis, what's going on over here with the Monitor, plus you also have Flash rewriting history. And then that re-levels everything out. And that would be kind of interesting. I don't really know how they would do that, but it would be kind of interesting.
Okay. So where do you think this show for Peacemaker is going to be headed
Blue
towards?
Beetle.
Okay.
I think it's the Reach.
Okay.
Expand. the thing is that in some ways, shape, or form, we need to introduce Blue Beetle.
Mm-hmm.
We need to introduce the Scarab. We need to introduce the Reach. We need to start introducing these aliens that are trying to take over the planet. Because usually what happens is they send down a Blue Beetle Scarab, and then that takes over their version of the champion. And then what happens is that champion then tries to convince the planet to welcome these invaders, and then they basically just wipe out their planets and stuff like that. They have issues with like the Green Lantern Corps and stuff like that, but that's different. I think that it'd be interesting if the Reach sent down these people so that way they can take over the more popular, main figures.
Well, because this one took over a senator.
This one took over a senator and his family. So what about if it was like it took over like multiple senators, and then it took over like the Queen, and then it took over like other people? Also, how do we know that butterflies? What about if instead of they ate the brain, they've captured humans? There's an actual hive that somewhere all these people are hidden. And now they're cocooned, and then you have to release them.
An alien scenario. Yeah, I completely understand what you mean. That could be one. It's more of an interesting idea in your direction, right? Mm-hmm. Because that way you can still continue on this story and not have to have the messy universe fumbling thing that Warner Brothers is infamously knowing for messing up.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. And also you're getting that introduction. Is the Blue Beetle going to be a TV show or a movie?
Movie.
Is it going to be a movie?
It's a movie, I think. Yeah. Let's see.
Is it? I thought it was a TV show.
I thought it was a movie. Let's see.
Dude, if it's a TV show, that actor that plays Miguel in Cobra Kai is going to have a busy schedule. Because that's ridiculous. Making 2 shows.
Well, that's why he's so jacked.
That's why in Cobra season Kai, 4 he's like super jacked.
He's super jacked because he's supposed to be playing Blue Beetle.
Is there a Blue Beetle TV show? That's what one of the Google results is showing up.
No, it's a movie.
It's a movie. Yeah. I actually wouldn't be surprised. I actually wouldn't be surprised if that's one reason why also Miguel, that actor, couldn't do as many stunts this year. Because in his contract he probably couldn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Because he didn't fight a lot.
No.
In 4th season. He doesn't have a lot of interactions with like combat. He has like maybe like 1, 2 like real big fight scenes.
Yeah, there was one at prom, but that was it. It didn't even last long.
That's about it. Like it's not like a huge fight scene. I would not be surprised if like part of his contract this year
couldn't get injured.
It'd be interesting if he made an appearance somewhere in PeaceMaker. If that is true, right? If that is actually an intro, like a intro to the Blue Beetle and the Scarabs, it'd be interesting to see him make a small little cameo in the show.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go talk to Ted Cord as somebody who's trying to identify
what the Scarabs are or something like that.
Not necessarily what the Scarabs are, but they contract Cord in order to make devices to figure out who butterflies are.
Okay.
So that's what gets Ted Cord involved, and then that's how Ted Cord finds the Blue Beetle. Like he's been doing research on the Blue Beetle Scarab for a while. Then you can have the Blue Beetle fall into Miguel's hands.
Okay.
I
like that.
That's an interesting idea, Rene.
No, I really got nothing. It's an interesting show. Like I said, the one gripe I have about it is because we finally get a plot in episode 3, like where it's going, like what this show is leaning towards. And it's an alien invasion, but we got that in episode 3. And I'm kind of not disappointed, but I'm more kind of like, wow, we got 3 episodes when it aired. I was kind of expecting maybe 2 or 1, but we got 3. So it's like almost like a movie.
Is this a weekly show?
It's supposed to be, I think.
I think it's coming out next week.
Yeah, new episode comes out next week.
That's my question is it only 1 or is it 3 again?
Let's see.
if they did that to us where it's like 1 episode a week after releasing 3, that's gonna suck. Because you can't just sell us on 3.
I think it's only 8 episodes, isn't it?
That's the thing.
Oh my God.
I think there's only 5 episodes left.
But you know what's so great about this and kind of like the idea of not knowing exactly what's going to happen? It keeps us invested. Because like Rene was basically saying, he doesn't know what's going to happen, has no idea what's going to go on.
8 episodes.
8 episodes?
Are
But
they releasing episode to episode or is it batch?
Yeah, it's episode by episode after that.
Oh my God, dude, that's intense. So let me ask you this. Are you invested in the show? Like now that you're like, are you more interested in to see how this is going to develop in terms of the Project Butterflies,
Definitely.
and the story moving forward?
Yeah, because I want to see where that leads to at the end.
So do you think that we're going to get a wrap-up of Project Butterfly by the end of the season?
I think we're going to get basically what they need to do.
Okay.
I feel like we're going to find out, like, okay, there's been... Because we already know they're all over.
Yes.
I think we're going to find out where, like you said, like a hive mind or like a hive, we're going to find out where the source is coming from by the end of the season.
Okay. But not its complete.
I don't think we're going to get like a solution. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't be surprised if it was like some kind of a hive, like they've kidnapped people and then they've made new bodies and then like that, and it's bodies that the...
Mike, closer to you.
And it's bodies that...
Now, do we think that we're going to have one of the main cast members be a butterfly, but we don't know it yet?
Who?
What's his name?
Mern?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Here's the reason why. It's after he gets up from the explosion. He gets up from the explosion extraordinarily weird, like he doesn't have control over his body.
That's true.
I got to rewatch that scene.
Because he's like,
he is sitting there like this.
He's sitting there like this with his eyes open and
eyes...
he's bleeding out of his mouth, and then literally he does this without saying anything, and he's not really breathing. And then he gets up, and then as he's getting up, he's like, it looks like he's trying to adjust and get control over the body again. What about if he is the true big bad, but what's happening is that he's trying to deal with the butterflies on his own? He's giving false information of what the butterflies are.
And he's covering his tracks by telling everyone he doesn't know how to show emotion.
But why is he executing his own species then?
That's the thing. That's the thing I don't know. But the thing is that also, and I feel like that was a tell of James Gunn, where and unfortunately when that casting got leaked, when he said, I hired him as the villain for Guardians 3. Why would I hire him as the villain for Guardians 3 unless he performed as a really great villain in this?
That's true. Yeah.
Possible spoiler there.
Yeah.
So we do have to wrap up this issue pretty soon, but there's one more thing we have not discussed, and I feel like this is like another 10-minute conversation coming up, which we have the time for.
The fact that John Cena looks like a giant muscular baby when he's naked.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. That's not what I was gonna say, but yeah. I'm just look.
Yeah.
Especially when he's wearing freaking underwear, dude. Tiny whities, dude. It's like, what? I'm confused watching that. I'm just like, I don't know if he's like tall or short and just muscular.
It's like he's muscular, but he has like this arched back.
He looks like an action figure.
He does.
That's the thing.
He
and
does. And it's so weird when he's naked and you're just like
I feel
walking around
like
and he looks like a giant muscular
I'm happy
baby.
that he's able to stay that muscular. Like, that's great. Good for him.
Yeah.
But the thing is that like he's so, like you said, it's just so big. And it's like, can you imagine ever being like that for the rest of your life?
I kind of want to though.
Do you really? I don't. Like, if I'm thinking of a
it's also The Rock too. The Rock kind of has that walk too.
No, but The Rock, here's the thing. If you compare like John Cena, muscles to like Dwayne The Rock Johnson's, John Cena just looks like an action figure. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson looks like an action figure, but like
sculpted.
Yeah, but not like not a posable one.
I feel like that's also the pigment on their skin.
Why are we dissecting
muscular men?
Because they keep putting it in front of them.
That's the thing that makes it.
Stop putting it in front of me in a TV show or movies.
And plus, didn't you notice that like there's just like two weird veins that he has on his arm?
Does.
It's super squiggly.
It's like super he has one up here too.
Yeah.
The things we notice.
Don't have him naked in a bunch of scenes. No. Because then I'm going to see him.
Literally have him dancing for like 15 minutes in underwear, just going like this, singing into a vibrator. Like, what the heck?
Because when you look at The Rock, he has that same thing, but his veins are not like that.
No, they're not.
They're actually like structured veins. It's weird. Like, they look like those are
their
strong
placement
veins.
is right.
Yeah.
No,
it's not that they're not right. I'm sure it's right for his body. It's just Like, it's not like he's bleeding inside.
This is not the conversation I'm trying to
But
have.
it's just weird to see like John Cena have like a curly fry.
You're welcome.
On his arm, you know. Like,
It's weird to have a curly fry on his arm.
So the reason the last point of topic I wanted to have
like a
was
bendy
not
straw.
muscular men in tidy whities. It was the opening sequence to this TV show.
do you really want to taste it? Again, I'm talking about it because the way that John Cena danced in that, he's just going like this. You know,
In the opening sequence?
Yeah, he's not really moving. He's like,
No, okay, so here's the brilliance of this opening sequence, right? So it doesn't fit the theme of the show, and you have every main character
Of this section.
of this portion of the show making a dance number for this, right? I can't help but not skip it. I know that he in one of the interviews he was just like, I wanted to make something that's not skippable, that people have to watch because it's interesting. I'm watching it not only because it's interesting, but because I'm trying to make sense of why and what each character is doing in this dance number. Like certain dance moves that these people are doing don't make sense to the characters that they're portraying inside of.
Really quick, Judo Master is 7 episodes. So he's not
Is
dead.
he really?
Not
Yeah,
dead.
he's not
What'd
dead.
I just say?
He's in 7 episodes.
Not dead.
Is he really?
Not
Yeah.
dead, baby.
But what about if there's a different judo master?
No, it's the same actor.
Same actor?
It's the same actor.
Not dead, baby. Let's do this.
Wait, he's in 7 episodes?
He's in 7 episodes because he wasn't
So-
in the first one.
But he was.
He's
in the
gonna be
second
in. He's gonna be in every episode from
From
there.
moving
Yeah.
forward.
That's
now.
why in the dance number he's in front with John Cena
Do you think
or
he
with
would
PeaceMaker.
Do you think they capture him? Like they tie him
I
up?
think
and
that the
then
I think that's
bashing of
what
the
it
head makes him having like what is it called
Amnesia?
amnesia, and so he like goes for them now.
He joins.
Yeah, which would be
That'd be
great.
funny. I
That would
love
actually
that.
be really funny if he joins the team and John Cena's just using him like a slave.
The actual Achilles tendon. No, but what do we think of the dance number?
It's
I love it. I love
no,
it.
I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
I watch it every time.
So did
I don't skip it. I don't skip
It's
it.
so funny though because it looks like you're moving action figures like stop motion. Like
The faces are neutral.
because the faces are neutral, and then you have this like this block moment of like 1 and then 2. And then, like, they swing their arms like chimpanzees.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is
I think that was the
going on?
simplest way they can do it with everyone.
Oh, so that way it
In
matched
less
everybody?
takes. Yeah, in less takes.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought of a brilliant skit that we could possibly do. I'll tell you guys afterwards.
Okay,
It's
that's
such.
fine.
That's so great. Okay, anyways.
Does it have to do with what I messaged earlier in the chat?
No, it with what we just talked about. So
Okay.
we'll talk. We'll discuss afterwards. But no, that okay. So it's great because it's like it's like they're posable action figures doing the entire thing, right? So none of these characters have any movement that makes sense to the characters that they're playing in the show, right? But my favorite part is PeaceMaker's entire dance routine for this. It's like he's doing this, and then there's one point when he gets his gun and then just goes. Points it at the camera and goes, poof, and then it just goes into this magical finale that happens that introduces the title card.
So the way I kind of looked at it, and now that we're talking about it, I actually kind of thought of it of James Gunn as the puppet master. And these are his puppets that he's just kind of dancing around and just because that's kind of how they walk, like puppets.
Yeah, that in all these movies, even
Like this is a puppet move. Yeah. Like,
Even
this
The
is something I would
Economist.
see out of Kermit.
The Economist has only one dance section in the entire opening sequence, and it's him going like, and that's it. That's it. Nothing else besides the when everyone is at the end. But it's interesting.
It is.
It's a very weird but entertaining opening sequence.
Yes.
It's very James Gunn-y.
Also, what is it? Harden or the
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
spy.
Harden, yeah.
She is muscular. When she does
she's very
that,
fit.
when she does like this, you can see her like the tone of her bicep. I'm like, damn, she's fit. Like, oh my god, dude! Like her muscle shined in the screen. Oh my god, she could whoop me.
So, last question before we wrap up this issue. How comfortable would we feel? Okay. So, given the fact that, we had Zack Snyder take on the DCEU and tried to make something, right? And Warner Brothers was just not having it, right?
Right.
Warner Brothers is notorious for dipping their hands into properties and saying, like, yeah, we're not going to let this air. We don't like it this way. We're going to change this. And that's why Snyder didn't have his cut with the Justice League until, like, years later.
Here was the problem, though. I feel that Snyder didn't prove that his cut was good.
Okay. So with that said...
And that happened with Man of Steel.
With that said, would we feel comfortable with a James Gunn-centric DCEU?
Yeah, but...
See, here was my thing, though. James Gunn can shoot the hell out of a movie. And he knows how to do comedy. He knows how to do all these other things. I wouldn't put a Batman movie in James Gunn's hands.
No.
But would you have him not take on like the main centric superheroes, right? Like Superman, Batman. If you want to make a Green Lantern movie, you can go ahead and do that.
I think he would make a great Green Lantern movie, actually.
That wouldn't be too bad.
No, here's the reason why.
Which Green Lantern?
Guy Gardner.
But that's the thing, is that you gotta sell one of the main ones. That's the thing. I wouldn't do Guy Gardner.
Oh no!
James
As a
Gunn
Green Lantern
does
movie.
not a Green Lantern movie, but he does the cat who took on the yellow lantern, right? Is it the yellow?
No, red one.
Oh, the red one.
It's a red one. But no, who's the fourth Green Lantern?
So there's Kyle Rayner.
Kyle Rayner.
Okay.
I could see him doing a Kyle Rayner kind of Green Lantern but the reason why I think that a Green Lantern, because he knows how to do ensembles really well, and you could do Green Lantern Corps super awesome of him in charge of a group of other Green Lanterns.
Okay.
And him trying to get them like to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you're kind of doing the same thing that's here, but with Green Lanterns.
Okay.
And everything else. I do think he could make a really interesting, and also he knows how to shoot the hell out of space.
Well, you know what? I think I would give him a Green Arrow movie.
Green Arrow would be pretty sick.
A Green Arrow movie? He can do a Green Arrow movie.
He can definitely do a Green Arrow movie.
Yeah, because
I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I can think. I'll give him that.
Okay, so how about this? Not a James Gunn-centric DCEU, but a spin-off centric DCEU.
I think he's great for spin-offs.
Yeah.
Give me all the weird characters, because I feel like that's where he like really knows how to like kind of blossom, of getting like these very, very terrible characters. These characters that are like Weasel.
Are you saying Green Arrow's terrible, Nick?
Yes.
Yes, he's a cop. He's literally a copy of
Say it to
Batman.
the camera. Say it to the camera.
It's a copy of Batman.
He's literally a copy of Batman.
Every single Batman show or Batman reference that the Warner Brothers or CW is trying to do
is a Batman reference.
But they ended up just using Green Arrow.
No, or what was it? It's
and his name is Rene Bravo.
His
message.
What was it? I think it was so funny when inside of I think it's like Injustice or something like that, when they're trying to protect Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah.
And then he goes like, "Oh, this is the Arrow Cave." And she's like, "Oh, arrows don't go in caves. Why don't you just call it the Quiver?" And he's like, "It's so much better."
No, that's the thing. Like, I'm rewatching Smallville, and like, I'm looking at all the behind the scenes stuff, and they wanted to bring in Bruce Wayne so bad, but Warner Brothers was like, "Nope, he's a movie character. Use someone else." And they were like, "Fine, we'll use Green Arrow."
That was the same thing with
the Arrow show.
Is that they wanted to do a Batman show. And then they couldn't do it, so they were just like, okay, well, let's just do Green Arrow, because Green Arrow is basically the same thing with just a bow and arrow. He's a billionaire philanthropist. The only difference is that he's supposed to be very eco-friendly. Like, he's supposed to be kind of a hippie, where he's like fighting the power and like going for the people and giving money back and everything else, instead of just trying to fight for like the soul of Star City.
No, he just. I don't like Arrow show. That's why I never liked the Arrow show. That's why it's just like,
it was a rough show.
No. It had great parts. It had
moments.
Do we have any last minute thoughts on PeaceMaker?
Shut your mouth.
I
shut that whore mouth of yours.
That dirty whore mouth of yours.
Do you have any last minute thoughts on PeaceMaker?
I love it. I think, with all the episodes coming out soon, I think we're just gonna get how it is right now. It's just the same vibe and just basically Peacemaker dealing with aliens.
I'm assuming that the next episode is going to give us our, because the last episode gave us our plot. We have to stop these butterflies from taking over. I feel like in the next episode they're going to give us more answers of what exactly that means and how exactly we're going to do it.
Do you think we'll get an episode of like a flashback of like how he was raised and stuff like that
for Peacemaker?
It's a waste of an episode.
It's
a waste of an episode because it would be a filler episode for a show that only has 8 episodes.
Yeah, not only that, but also you're right. I can actually see that in a season 2, though.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that in a season 2. Not only that, but also James Gunn does well enough to tell instead of show.
Yeah.
He does that actually really well, of having the ability to comedically tell you what happened and make it interesting and informative enough where you understand what happened.
That's true.
And everything. He doesn't need to spend 10 minutes trying to show you his dad beating him or like putting a cigarette out on him. Like you don't need that.
No. I will say that what I really love about this show so far, probably now that we've analyzed it a little bit more, I've kind of appreciated this a little bit more. We're learning the plot and story that James Gunn is trying to show us at the same pace as Peacemaker.
That's true. That's true.
And so it makes it interesting because we're growing with the characters there rather than just kind of consuming the writing material and what the production's trying to bring forward. We are learning at the same pace as the main character in the TV show, and we're invested there because just as much as Peacemaker is wanting to invest himself in what he's kind of getting dragged into, we are now going to be as invested there trying to figure out what the butterflies are, what is going on with all these other characters, what situation is he put into and how is he going to get out of it. It's interesting because James Gunn actually, 100%, he knows how to get these very, trash bag characters and make them great, but he also knows how to invest and sell us on a good story and give it his own spin with his own signature without necessarily, shoving it in our faces and saying like, yes, this is a production that belongs to me. He's not Michael Baying this. It's still its own property. Yeah.
Because he cares.
Exactly.
Because Michael Bay doesn't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Michael Bay is like, just throw colors up on the screen and make sure it blows up.
Put an attractive woman in slow motion running around.
A bunch of up-close shots.
Megan Fox.
Angled down this way.
No, not Megan Fox. He hates her.
No, they tie ties on, was it? Because remember, she was April O'Neil in was it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies.
Did he direct that one too?
He produced and he wrote. Yeah.
And on that note,
but
sorry.
money talks.
Yeah.
Mouth talks more. That's how she got it back.
And on that note, we're gonna wrap up this issue. We're gonna wrap up this issue. That's not what I was going for. Thank you guys for joining us on this issue. You guys can find us on all audio platforms, wherever you listen to your podcasts, on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Let us know what you guys think so far about what we're doing. Definitely trying to improve how we perform on here and, the content that we choose to bring you guys. Also, if you guys are listening to this on audio platforms, we do have a YouTube channel where you guys can see the visual side of this podcast on youtube.com. It doesn't have a slash, but just look up Keeping Up with the Nerds, and you guys can find all our content on there, as well as the upcoming skits that we have planned, the upcoming skits I have yet to edit, and all future stuff that we're going to be releasing prior to year 2. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for all the up-to-date information on when things are going to be released. Twitter, follow us on there because we definitely have plans for that these coming weeks. And there are a couple of announcements that are going to be popping up. So if you guys visit keepingupwiththenerds.com, there will be an announcement right there and a video, hopefully, I'm planning on. We'll discuss later about the announcements that we're going to be making in February.
Yeah.
Because it's some pretty big stuff that we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks, guys. It's a pretty big deal for us. Massive step in terms of the production that we're going to be running here, and we thank you guys for the support. Honestly, to our frequent listeners, to the new listeners that have stayed this far, we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We appreciate the likes, the comments, the interactions that you guys give us on our social medias as well. Just know that we're very thankful for it. And jumping into year 2, it's going to be a very hopefully big thing.
Yeah, definitely.
That we're going to be proud of. So, with that said, are we ready to wrap this issue up?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Nick, let's not fumble this one.
Jinxed him.
Hit it.
This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 81. My name is Nick Valero.
This is Bryan.
Rene.
Recording at Undercity Comics in Whittier, California. We want to thank everyone for listening to this issue and hope to see you all next time.
I don't know what you want from me, Nick.
Kindness.
That was clean. Good freaking.
Hey,
good freaking job.
That was
chef's kisses. Do you remember the sequence of everything?
Of what? I just need the numbers. That's it. It's the numbers that trip me up.
12, 9, 20.
Why do you say 12, 9, 20?
I don't know why it sounds more complicated when you say it like that.
I go one,
easier.
1, 2, 9, 2, 0.
Okay.
Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, from Undercity Comics. Coming. I was
Cody wrote 12, 9, 20 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California,
California.
in the heart of Uptown Whittier.
Whittier.
Keeping Up with the Nerds
Nerds
presents issue number 81.
There we go. I had that. Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, in the heart of Uptown Whittier.
Do you want a clipboard?
In the
Shut up!
Okay, one more time,
It's my week.
and I'm
It's
getting
my-
the clipboard.
It's my first week back. Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, from the heart of Whittier, California. This is Keeping Up with the Nerds.
I'm getting the clipboard. You skipped like two verses.
I tried.